lipstick on. Yeah.
Hello and welcome. This is Coach on Fire Radio and I am Paula Kalik, your host for Up Your Vibe to Make Shifts. And it is my job to bring people from all around the world to inspire you to make one little change in your life, to implement a strategy or a technique that my guest speakers give to you. And today we have the amazing Leonie Wright. Hello, Leonie. How are you today?
Hi, Paula. I'm very well. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to talk on your show.
And thank you for being the guest speaker. And I am really interested in what you've got to say because it's a topic that's very close to my heart. So today you will be talking about how to stay healthy and slim. But first of all, Leonie, tell me all about you. What made you so passionate to become a health nutritionist and an author of 2 books?
Okay. Well, my journey started, Paula, in 2008, 10 years ago, when I was diagnosed with high cholesterol and was advised by my GP to take statins. I had been at the time on high blood pressure medication for 14 years, ever since our youngest son was born. And because I had high blood pressure for so long, I had to go for regular checks. And when I was diagnosed with high cholesterol, I was advised to take statins. Now, my mom and dad living in Holland, I come from Holland, so you probably detect an accent. They had been on statins for many years, and my mum had one of the side effects, which was muscle loss, and that scared me off. And I must say, Paula, I don't really like taking medication, and I will do anything I can to prevent myself from taking medication. So at the time, I came across a healthy eating plan in Holland, where I lived at the time, and I followed that. And within 3 months' time, I had reduced my cholesterol levels. My blood pressure had come down so much so that in collaboration with the doctor, I decided that I could reduce my medication of high blood pressure, and ultimately I came off the medication. I used to suffer from migraines as well, once or twice a month, and they disappeared, all by changing my lifestyle, the way I ate, the exercise I did, and what I drank. So I got so passionate about it, and I felt, oh, the whole world, I must tell everybody about this. This is wonderful. And I wanted everybody to listen. But of course, yeah, then I started my business in 2010, which is called Eat Right, in which I now help mainly women over 45 to get their health back in tip-top shape, and as a result, often they lose weight as well. So that's why I am now.
So when you say they lose weight, you say that really is just a side effect of being healthy?
Absolutely. My main priority is to get those ladies in tip-top health, and I do that by cleansing their body on cellular level, by eating certain foods. No replacement meals, no shakes, just normal food, so that they can maintain it and learn a new lifestyle and new habits while they do that, so they can maintain it for the rest of their lives.
So we're not going to say that you put your ladies on diets, because to me diet instantly sparks up images of eating rabbit food and scarcity and depriving myself.
No.
And that's the last thing I want to do.
No, neither do I. There's so much lovely food around. You must enjoy it as much as you can. So no, it's eating delicious food, quick meals. As I said before, no replacement meals, but just eating your protein, your carbohydrates and your fat, but in a certain way. Eat regularly, implement exercise, drink more water. That's basically what it's all about.
Okay.
No diet. We do it not for a short period of time, because 95%, you might know, of diets fail in the long term. And we in our society, we think diets are, as you quite rightly say, short period of time. I'm eating food I don't particularly like. And then when I finish that period, then I just go back to where I was before. That's what we think diet means. And we also use the word diet to describe diet drinks that we are thinking are very healthy for you, but actually they are not healthy at all. Well, diet actually comes from the Greek language. It means a way of eating. So that's what I'm about. It's a healthy eating plan that you can maintain for the rest of your life.
That's interesting what you just said about diet, because diet instantly sparked off internal representations to me of scarcity and all of that. But now you've said that, it's not really a bad word at all, is it?
No, it is a good word, but we have made it
We've made it a bad word.
Yeah.
But around me, I work with a lot of people in a big organisation, and there are so many women there wanting to lose weight, and they're all on Weight Watchers or one of the others. And they have vast amounts of weight to lose.
Absolutely, they do. Yes, that's really
within the NHS, it's the statistics are that actually 50% of patients and workers are overweight now.
Yeah, that's
massive.
Yeah, that's massive. Yeah.
Do you know what the statistics are in the UK?
Yeah, well, currently at the moment, 25% of people in the UK are obese. And they estimate that in 2050, 50% of the population will be obese. And with that, of course, being obese is causing health issues such as type 2 diabetes, heart problem, cancer. It can cause arthritis, all sorts of issues. So we really, really are sitting on a time bomb and need to do something about that, from preventing happening that to ourselves.
Yes, we do, don't we? It is shocking how we have just seemed to have somehow just fallen into this without even knowing that this has happened to us, that our eating habits have changed. Because I remember back in the 50s when I was born, the ideal figure used to be 36, 24, 36.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Can you imagine that now? No. That all started. Did you know that what you had just cited was the start of the diet industry? There was a lady in America. Actually, it started off with a gentleman who worked for an insurance company, and he had established that if people could maintain the weight that they had at the age of 25, they would live much longer. And then came these beautiful dresses from houses like Dior, where you had to have this 24-inch waist. And suddenly, half of the American population was overweight and wanted to do something about it. And this was the start of Weight Watchers, which started in the 50s by a lady called Janet Nydak. And she wanted to lose weight, but she found it very difficult to do that on her own. So she started groups of women where they would support and help each other to lose the weight, to get into this dress.
Gosh. Yeah, my waist is not particularly small, but I am considered as slim, although I'm still slightly overweight. And I cannot imagine ever being a 24-inch waist.
No, neither can I.
I've
measured my waist, actually. I must measure it sometimes. Maybe I do.
No, don't. It hurts. It's painful. Don't get that tape measure out. No. If you do really want to motivate yourself, do get that tape measure out, because it's a very painful experience when you actually measure yourself. I did take a 6-week challenge to fitness and health myself recently, and my intention was to lose 6 inches and 6 kilos in 6 weeks. And that's quite a challenge.
That is a challenge, yes.
In order to do this, we had to take all our body measurements. And when I measured my waist, it was like I was depressed.
Really?
I was severely depressed. How have I allowed this to happen to me, for my waist to be as big as it was, which was 35 inches? Shocking. And I'm a small person. So I set about with my 6-week challenge, did the exercises, implemented fermented foods into my diet. And within the first week, I dropped 2 kilos. It's, wow, this is amazing. And then the second week, it slowed down. And over the 6 weeks, I'm really proud of myself. I didn't achieve my absolute intentions, but I lost around 8 inches around my body and 3.6 kilos.
Not bad. Very good.
And now I don't avoid the mirror in the morning.
Ah. So it made a big change for you, and wonderful.
Massively. Yeah, I feel absolutely more energetic. I can get into a size 10 dress now, which is fantastic.
Very good, yeah.
And people have noticed. And then some people say, don't lose any more weight, you're starting to look too thin. Where did that come from? Because I'm not too thin.
No. But it's probably how they perceived you before you started on this challenge, and from how you are now, then 3.6 kilos can make a lot of difference, and people will notice it.
Yes,
will notice it.
So let's get back to you. I would really love to know more about your 2 books that you've written.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Well, I work with clients, and I advise my clients to eat certain foods. And my clients were saying to me, Leonie, I don't know exactly what to eat. Have you got recipes? Now, with my plan, we have about 40 recipes, but they wanted more. 40 recipes is quite restrictive, because of those 40, there are probably 20 people like, so the other 20 they might not like. So can you not write a book? And I was like, oh, writing a book? I've never ever done anything like that before. So I did write a cooking book, and it's now 3.5 years old, and it's called Cookery. And the aim of the cookbook is to reduce your sugar intake. So no added sugar in any of the recipes. So I published this book. It's called Cookery, and it's called 100 delicious and quick recipes in there, varying from breakfast, salads, cod, all that sort of food. Look, and all this I did myself. I took my own pictures. I self-published because I wanted to have control over the book. What I also wanted was, this is very simple, a ring binder, as you can see here.
Yes, amazing.
I don't like these cookbooks which you open and then the page falls back all the time and your hands are dirty and you need to
That
open.
is so true.
So it's really a practical book. So that was my first book. Yeah. And that came about because of my clients. And then I saw that somebody had ordered my cooking book on Amazon. And I was like, oh, where does that come from? And it was a professor from Warwick University. I was like, why does he want to have my book? And lo and behold, a week later, he said, or no, 2 months later, he said to me, Leonie, I want you to write a recipe book. And I said, I've just done one. Yeah, stevia in it. I said, oh, okay. And how did it come about? He was a sort of philanthropist, and he was promoting the stevia. Do you know stevia?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's the leaf sugar, isn't it? Natural leaf sugar.
Natural leaf sugar, which actually doesn't raise your blood sugar level. Yeah. It's got no calories in it, and it's really good, the best alternative you can have to normal sugar. So he was trying to convince tobacco companies in America to change their crop from tobacco plants into stevia plants. But he said, I want to show these people that you can cook with stevia as well. So that's why I want a recipe book. So up came the second book, which is called Cook Right with Stevia. So in here I have mainly desserts, cakes and biscuits, things like that. That are no sugar and help you to reduce your blood sugar levels. So, and that's doing really well as well, because stevia is relatively unknown. It has been approved in the UK, I think, since 2011 for consumer use, because it's been used for many years in South America and Asia. But the European Union decided that in 2011 we could consume it.
And what was the name of the professor that actually was the catalyst for you writing the second book?
He was an American gentleman, and I met him in London, and his name was Professor Ed Berman.
And you went to meet him?
Well, the thing was, I was a bit suspicious, because I thought, why does somebody want me to write a cookery book and I don't know him? So I said to my husband, would you mind going up to London and just meet up with him? And he said, yeah, that's fine, because you never know. It could be something odd, couldn't it? So we went there, and it was fantastic. We had such a good meeting, and he was so convincing. He was he's also in theater and people making their own gardens in the city so that they can grow their own food, and very inspirational person. So then it came about and I printed those books. Yes.
And I really do hope that he's successful with his intentions. It sounds
I know. Yes, he's very inspiring. Yes.
Yeah, that is amazing. So that was the catalyst for your second book.
Yes.
In the books that you've got now, do you include vegetarian meals or vegan meals?
There are some vegetarian meals in there, but there are no vegan meals in there. I'm not a specialist in vegan food. I think you need to have a lot of knowledge to combine a recipe book that is healthy for vegan people.
Yeah.
But it's not my cup of tea. My idea is I want to get the average English person from a very unhealthy diet to a sort of halfway, very healthy diet. And then possibly if they want to do vegan themselves, but I can't help them with that. I haven't got any vegan recipes. But there are some vegetarian ones in there.
The 2 books that you have, they would appeal to anybody really, to male, female, of any age.
Yes, absolutely. If you
any adults, we mean.
Yes, yeah. If you would eat according to that book, you would get all the necessary protein, carbohydrates, and fats. You will reduce your sugar intake. You will feel so much better about yourself, much more energetic, much more fitter, healthier, and as a side effect, you might lose some weight as well. Yes.
That's fantastic. So you do a 12-week course, which is either with you in Leatherhead, people can come along to you, or you do it remotely online around the world. But for this, you basically work with adults over 45 and generally women.
That's it, yes. Yeah. I find that I started my business in 2010. Most of my clients are ladies over 45 who have tried every diet under the sun and are not happy with the way they feel. They are tired, they have health issues, and they're a bit lost. They don't really know what they should be eating or should be doing. So this 12-week plan is a real good guideline for them, in which I help them, first of all, to clean their body on cellular level and get rid of surplus fat and toxins and any other rubbish there is in your body, so that your body gets in tip-top shape and health in the body that you are in. And then a side effect is the weight loss. Now, I've found that a lot of the time, the women that come to me, their partners also want to become healthier. So then they often do it together. But my main focus is on women over 45, yes.
And what sort of accountability do you have in place?
Yes, well, it is, I don't do groups. It's very much individual. It's tailor-made to them. We start off with a plan that's the same for everybody, but we adjust it accordingly in the way that they develop and how they go through the plan. Sorry, what was the question?
Accountability. What sort of accountability?
Accountability. I'm so sorry. So clients come for 3 consultations. They come at the beginning when we discuss their plan, what they're going to do. Then they come after 4 weeks, and then they come after 4 weeks again. The first 10 days, they will have to tell me what they're eating, and I will check what they're eating and help them. And if I, for example, see that somebody eats chicken the whole day, I think, oh, have you thought about nuts? Have you thought about fish? So I give them advice so that they get used to the healthy eating. And then they get an email when they embark on the plan twice a week, in which I give them information about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how much better it will make them feel. So really to encourage them. So,
Do they have any further calls with you? Video calls?
No, if they have an online plan, then I have calls with them as well. But they always can access me directly, so they can always send me an email, give me a telephone call. We have a closed Facebook group as well, where people can exchange ideas and help and support each other as well.
Good. And you also have a Facebook group where you can get more recipes?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, I cook a new recipe. So it's not recipes from my book, but new ones. This morning, I made a very appropriate one. It's a butternut squash soup, of course, being Halloween today. So simple and easy. And yeah, so I do that every week just to encourage people and show people
how easy it is to cook.
Yeah, how easy and delicious healthy food can be.
Yeah, I used to make my soups in a pressure cooker, and literally it's minutes.
It is, yes, yeah. Well, I do mine still in an oven. I cut the butternuts, but I'll put the recipe on today. It's up there already, but I haven't got time yet to put actually the recipe on there. But the Facebook Live is on there as well.
So we will be including your links on the podcast or on the YouTube video, so that people can come and like your group and join in, and they can contact you. But if anybody wants to contact you, what's your email address or the best contact?
Well, my email address is Leonie, which is LEONIE @EATWRIGHT.co.uk, because the name of my company is Eat Right.
Yes.
And I married Mr. Wright.
Oh, you are. That wasn't just by chance, was it?
No, that wasn't by chance.
I don't believe that anything happens to us but just by chance. I believe that's the journey that we're meant to take, no matter what.
Yes.
Matters.
Yes.
Yeah. But one interesting thing you said earlier, that was about having a baseline where to start, and you measure people.
Yes, that's right.
What are the body measurements about?
Well, they are about 8 or 9. So first of all, of course, their weight, then their bone mass, their muscle mass, their BMI. I measure their metabolic age, so they can find out how old they really are according to their measurements. Their hydration level, so how much fluid they have in their body. And then for me, the most important reading is the visceral fat. So that's the fat around your vital organ. People think, oh, any fat in your body is fat, but that's not the case. You have subcutaneous fat, so that's the fat under your skin that protects you from the cold and stores your vitamins in there as well. But then you have fat around your organs, which actually are meant to be there to protect your organs, but sometimes that becomes too much, so it will then restrict your organ from functioning properly.
God, that's really important for people to understand.
That's the most important, yeah.
I do a measure on my visceral fat, and it's at 9 at the moment, which is not great, but it's not bad either.
Yeah, no.
And you don't actually have to be fat to have high visceral fat, do you?
Absolutely not, no, because to be fair, I'm quite slim, and when I started my journey on getting better, my visceral fat was quite high because I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol. It was obviously restricting my heart or other areas in my body functioning properly, and it came right down to about 5 since I did this plan about 10 years ago, and it's still 5 now. Now 15 years younger.
That is amazing. I've got to get what you're doing, really. Clearly,
but the thing is, Paula, my machine only measures 15 years older or 15 years younger. So I could actually be younger than 15 years younger.
Wow, that is amazing. You're obviously doing the right things. So what is it about when we get older that we tend to expand? What is the reason for that?
Well, first of all, it's our metabolism slows down. We often eat the same amount of foods that we tend to eat in the past. When you're younger, you use up more energy. When you get older, your energy becomes maybe a little bit less. Your body needs more vitamins and minerals because people, especially women over 45, they need a good bone health and good strength. So, and I think it is mostly to do with slowdown of metabolism and not eating the right foods. The foods that you could get away with in the past, in older age, you can't.
Yes, and I think as a nation we've become very complacent with what we eat because we have takeaway availability all around us. The television is constantly firing at us with all these wonderful recipes that are extremely fattening, and they look so delicious, so you go out and get them. And then of course there's the microwave generation, which they just get a ready-made processed food and put it in the oven. So there's a lot more factors involved in this.
Absolutely,
than just that.
We're all time poor. Lots of people work and they have no time to cook. Ideally, you will cook from scratch. So they find it easier to go out to the shop and buy a ready-made meal, which is full of fat, sugar, and salt, and also not the healthiest fat, sugar, and salt. And the microwave does destroy any benefits in there. So basically, we're not giving our bodies the real food that we need. It's like with a car. When you have a car that drives on petrol, you don't put diesel in it. You have to put the right foods in your body for it to function properly, because ultimately you are what you eat. I mean, it's a saying that many people say, but it is absolutely what it is. If you give the right fuel, then it will function properly, because the body has a capacity to heal itself, but it can only do that if it gets the right foods.
And if you're eating processed foods daily,
it's not the right foods.
And processed food actually has got zero value in it, especially if you're going to microwave it. That strips it of all its energetic value. The only value it has is giving you something in your tummy.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah.
It's really sad that we've all become this fast nation, that we haven't got time to look after ourselves properly anymore, but we have to make time to look after ourselves. It actually isn't that time consuming to make beautiful butternut squash soup, or to make a meal that we can separate into containers and freeze ourselves.
Yeah, I have a really good saying that my coach in Holland says: if you are time poor now, but if you don't invest time in your health, in the future you will have to be investing more time in being unhealthy, because you will get ill, you will have to go to hospital, you get health issues. So invest time now in order to benefit in later life.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know many people that have not lost somebody, or they don't know somebody who's died prematurely in their 40s and in the 50s. And it's really sad, because it is because of the lifestyles that we are leading right now.
It can be. It's not always the case, of course.
Not always.
It's also in your DNA, or special health conditions that you have that you cannot prevent. But for example, just to mention something, 45% of cancers could be prevented if people would have a healthy lifestyle. And 45% is quite high.
It's massive.
I really want to encourage everybody to eat as healthy as they can, because your chances of becoming ill are just so much less than if you wouldn't.
Yes. And with the best intentions, when people go out to buy what they perceive to be a healthy meal, it's wrapped up as a healthy meal. It tells you a healthy meal.
Yeah.
But actually they're not.
No. It's with many, ideally when you go and buy your food, buy anything that is not wrapped, so at least processed as possible. I mean, I get clients who say, for example, to me, oh, I'm too heavy, I want to reduce my fat, and they buy low-fat yogurt. Now, low-fat yogurt, of course, on the front, it says 0% fat in there, and they believe that reducing their fat intake will help them to be healthier and lose weight, which is not the case.
Of course, that's what
because what happens is those products that are low in fat are often added sugars in there. So if you go to the supermarket and find a vanilla yogurt, per 100 gram, it could have 4 teaspoons of sugar per 100 gram. That's only a fifth of the packet. And then if you buy plain yogurt, which has got no additives or anything in it, it's only 1 teaspoon of sugar. So the people who fall for this 0% fat idea, thinking, oh, that's very healthy for me, that's not the right thing to do, because it's got all to do with the sugar. So very important, if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, is always look at the back, look at the nutritional values, never believe what it says on the front, and look at the sugar in there, because sugar is the major contributor to the deterioration of our health. So if you look at the carbohydrates under there, you will find the sugars. And then 4 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon. So you can work out how many teaspoons of sugar there is in each product.
And I just want to encourage people to look at the labels of what they're buying. Look at the sugar and salt added. Look at the toxins. If you can't read what that toxin is, don't eat it.
No. There's a good saying which says, don't ever buy anything in the supermarket that your grandmother will not recognize. Well, that means there will be lots of products in the supermarket that won't be bought. And try to buy nothing that's in a packet or a sachet or in a box or something like that. Yeah.
And dehydration is a major factor in poor health these days. People say to me, well, I drink loads. I have 10 cups of coffee a day. I have 3 cups of tea a day. I have orange squash, this toxic orange cordial or lemon cordial.
Yeah.
Those ingredients, you really would not drink them.
No. The thing is with coffees and teas, they actually dehydrate. So you need to drink more water. I mean, you probably know in Italy, when you go there, when people have an espresso, they drink a glass of water with it.
Yes.
Because the espresso, the caffeine is so strong, they need to dilute it. And because it dehydrates the body, and so does alcohol. For example, if you have drunken a lot of alcohol in the evening before you go to bed, I don't advise people to drink alcohol, but if they do, it's always good to drink a big glass of water before you go to bed, just to dilute it.
Yeah. And that helps prevent a headache in the morning as well.
And a hangover as well.
But we're not talking about just ordinary water, are we? That's the best to
No.
This is properly filtered water. I drink something called zero water.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I try to drink about 2 litres a day of water. Just pure water. Yeah,
if there is 2 top tips that I would give people. The first one is to reduce your sugar intake. Well, we've talked about that already. We might come back on that if you want to find out more about that. And the second one is to drink more water. I get clients in my practice who maybe only drink 1 glass of water a day. And as you say, they drink lots of teas and coffees, which is not really good. So I advise my clients to drink 30 milliliters of water per kilo that they weigh. So if you weigh 50 kilos, you drink 1.5 liters of water, and then preferably clean water. Cleaning water means going through a filter system, really. And on average, that comes to about 2 liters per person. The average weight, if you weigh 60 kilos, is 1.8 liter. And yesterday I was doing a talk and somebody said, well, what about, I drink about 3 liters a day. And 3 liters a day is really too much, because then all your vitamins, minerals will just disappear out of your body. And also not good for your kidney because it will overwork.
And what's your take on taking something like a multivitamin?
It depends, of course, on where you get your food from. Mm-hmm. If you eat healthily all the time, you get organic food or foods from the local farm shop. Are you sure you get all your nutrients, vitamins and minerals through the food you eat? Because food nowadays is really depleted of all those things because of the mass production of food. And then that's why the nutritional value of the foods that we eat nowadays is not the same as it was 50 years ago. Yeah. In 1985, just for example, if you had a peach, you nowadays need to eat 18 peaches to get the same amount of vitamins, nutrients, and vitamins from that same peach. Wow. So 18 peaches nowadays against 1 peach in 1985. So that's how much the nutritional values has deteriorated. So depending on what you eat, I do believe that most people need to take food supplementation through vitamins and minerals. And but make sure it's not a chemical supplement, that it is a food-based, natural
and organic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the food that we eat now definitely has changed, and
Yeah.
the majority of it is genetically modified, and we're not actually told that it is. And even if you
No.
get organic food, you can't guarantee that it's not being contaminated with a
Yeah.
genetically modified food in the next field. So it
Yeah.
is really difficult to get
It is
pure
difficult, and
food.
often we get organic fruit from the other side of the world. So think about the carbon footprint. It's not ideal either.
Mm.
The best would be if we would all have our own garden and grow our own food, but that's just impossible.
It would be
That's time.
marvelous. It would be
Yeah, yeah,
marvelous.
yeah.
That is the way that we obviously used to live many eons
Yes,
ago.
yes.
We all built our own houses. We all farmed our own fruit and vegetable. And what we
Yeah,
see now is progress.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it would
Progress.
be better. Yeah, everything would be. Yeah, it's
So
not real food.
no, but
No,
we can only do the best that we can do with what we've
absolutely.
got, and that's what
Yes.
we're trying to encourage people to do by
Yeah,
doing talks like this, by having this conversation. There
yeah.
might be some things that people agree with, there might be some things that people disagree with, but if you can take just one takeaway from this talk today and implement it and make a difference, that is marvelous.
That is marvelous. Let me just turn my phone on. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so you asked me about 2 top tips.
Yes.
My top tip, very, very top tip, would be to reduce your sugar intake.
Yes.
Because if you have too much sugar in your body and you don't burn it off, it can cause this visceral fat to grow. And that's not what you want. As I said before, in the past, people always believed fat makes you fat, but it's actually the extra sugar in your body that has nowhere else to go.
Yes.
Be stored as fat that is doing more harm. So that's my major top tip. If you are, a lot of people I come across say, oh, but I like my sugar and I said, well, if you stop for 2 till 3 weeks, you can get rid of that sugar addiction, because sugar is highly addictive. It's 8 times more addictive than heroin. So to break through that cycle is not easy, especially if you're used to having everything out of a packet, which is full of sugar. And you will have sort of withdrawal symptoms, like if you would be suffering, if you would be taking drugs. So do reduce your sugar intake. Really, it will make a lot of difference. You will feel fitter, more energy. And the second top tip is drink more water.
Yeah. And how can one maintain a healthy lifestyle?
That's the trick question. So
It is.
ideally, it's eating the right foods. So incorporate the 3 major food groups in the way that you eat. So the first one is carbohydrates, and then the healthy carbohydrates, not your pastries and biscuits and crisps, but your fruit and vegetables. So I do recommend people to have 8 till 10 fruit and vegetables a day, but the majority of vegetables, because fruit is also a sugar and your body doesn't differentiate between where the sugar is coming from. Does it come from a fruit, a honey, an agave syrup? So 2 till 3 pieces of fruit and then the rest vegetables. So that are your carbohydrates. Then the second one is enough healthy proteins. So they are the avocados, the nuts, the seeds, the nuts, seeds, fish. Sorry, I was thinking about olive oil. That's a fat, but fish as well. So they are the meat, chicken. They are the healthy proteins. And then the third one is the fats. So the good fats, so the olive oils, the fat in avocado, in seeds, and in nuts again, coconut oil if you cook on high temperature. So these are the 3 food groups that you do have to have in your diet. Ideally, a third, and a third. So a third protein, third carbohydrates, and a third fat. Then the second thing I would say, drink plenty of water, as we discussed. And then the third thing is exercise.
This is the biggie for me, exercise.
Oh, I know. And then the last one I did actually, there are 4 things, is sleep. Get enough sleep.
Yes.
Turn your laptops off an hour before you go to bed. Try to be in bed 2 hours before 12 o'clock. I don't always manage it because there's so much to do. But that
Obviously,
would be
there's a
ideal.
lot of sleep hygiene rules to
Yes.
stick by.
Yes.
And the computer is definitely, you shouldn't be watching that before you go to
No,
bed. No
I
television
know.
in your room.
Yeah.
There are a couple of plants that's quite good to keep in your room, but only one or two. So plants should be avoided in your bedroom too.
Yeah. Yeah. And sleep in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's helpful as well for the
Yeah.
melatonin. And you talked about exercise. Do you like exercise?
I hate exercise.
Oh dear. Uh-oh.
I actually motivate. I used to be an aerobics instructor, and
Did you? Wow.
I did, yes. And it was my most favourite job in the world. And I had an amazing size 8 figure, no wobbly bits. And I don't know if I've got some resistance because I'm no longer an aerobics instructor, but I recently invested in a gym membership. And even that, paying money out of my pocket, didn't make me passionate enough to want to go to the gym regularly.
Oh
I
no.
do exercise at home, and while I was on my 6-week challenge with a group of women, I did exercise. But that was my motivation, was other people. I find it's really difficult to exercise by yourself.
Yeah, it is. It is more difficult. Although the thing, what I would recommend, if you, I don't like gyms and going to the. I love walking. So if you think, okay, I need to do some exercise. What do I really enjoy? Well, I thought walking, and I do Nordic walking. I walk up the hill every morning for 50 minutes. So about 25 minutes up the hill, 25 minutes down. And that's the exercise I love because
Yes.
I have time to think and come up with ideas, have time to relax and just walk and not do anything.
Yeah.
And that's very good exercise. So I would always recommend somebody to look at exercise they enjoy. Obviously, you used to like aerobics, not anymore. You do like the exercises at home, but build it in as a habit, as a routine. For me, if I miss my walk in the morning, it's like not brushing my teeth or not going to under the shower.
Yes.
It's
A lot of things that's unfamiliar are fearful, and
yes.
you have to make them familiar by making them a habit, and then they're not fearful anymore.
Absolutely.
And this is probably where I am, I perhaps fear people judging me when I go into the gym because I'm not that size 8 anymore, but I don't look bad at all. I really don't. So I've got to get over.
Don't compare yourself with others. You are who you are. If you are healthy, which is the major thing, then, and if you feel fit, energetic, and you're healthy with how you feel, don't look at others. You are you, and you're special.
So what about these people who say, okay, my weight's fine, I don't need to exercise?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a good idea.
No, because there are very many benefits to exercise. Number one,
exactly,
it increases your bone mass.
Yeah. And also,
fat.
Yeah, and also your weight doesn't tell you how much visceral fat you have.
Exactly.
Or how well hydrated you are. Weight doesn't mean anything.
Okay, you're motivating me. I'm getting there. I'm going to get my fitness equipment out after the session has finished.
Oh, wonderful.
So let's get back to you again, because you practice in Leatherhead and you do this special scan that gives everybody the measurements.
Yes.
If they are remotely working with you, that means they can't have the body scan, doesn't it?
No, but that would still work. I can work with anybody all over the world, really. They would just have to go to a fitness center or a health center to get their measurements done over there. And we will have Skype calls in which I do consultations and talk with them, help them, support them, give them advice and tips. I think you were telling me about your 6 weeks plan. There was something that you had to buy. What was that?
That's right. That's weighing scales, and they measure 8 body measurements, and they're called 1 by 1. And you put an app on your phone, and it sends all the information to your phone. And then you can keep progress in chart form as well. You can see how your BMI is going down or your BMI is going down. It's really great. And I'll put that also in the podcast so people can find those. But I will only be putting the UK version because that's where we are in the UK. They are available worldwide though. The only thing that shies me away from this is because it works by Bluetooth.
I see.
Yeah, but everything does. You've got your phones all around you on all the time, and the electrical magnetic field. People may agree or disagree with you, but it does have a
all influences
on your health. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
so
your health is not only the food that you put in your body; it is the physical, mental, and social well-being as well, and everything that's around us will influence the toxins, the air, the rays in the air, and
Absolutely. So there's a lot to consider with your health, but take it one step at a time. And the first thing is, if you are overweight or obese or clinically obese, it's time to take action. You're aware that there are things out there to help you. And please do feel free to contact Leonie. She is marvellous at what she does. She gets results, and it's a no-nonsense approach that can work into your life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is not a gimmick that, sign up now for 6 weeks and you will do this and you will do that.
No, this is a lifestyle change for the rest of your life. Yeah.
And that is what people need to take advantage of right now while it's available.
I agree with you. Yeah. Of course I would agree with you.
Of course, but you are the result of your own work.
Yeah.
This is your absolute passion. What happened to you in the past created this passion, and you wish to help other people to achieve what you've achieved yourself. Because
absolutely, I want to share my knowledge with others, and I wish they could feel as well as I do feel at the moment. I feel fitter than I felt 20 years ago.
Exactly, and you look very well too.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for being a guest speaker on the show. It's been absolutely awesome to have you on and speak about your passion.
Thank you very much, Paula. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And please do get in touch with Leonie. I will leave all her details, even if it's just for a consultation. And you're not obliged to take her course in any way. But join her on her Facebook groups. There's lots of ways you can meet up with Leonie, and I'll post those on the podcast as well.
And I just want to say, if people want to have a free explanatory call, it's without any obligation. I just want to help.
Complimentary is much easier to say.
Complimentary then. Okay, thank you for that.
It's been fabulous having you on the show, and thank you for all the guests listening in, either live or on podcast. Take good care, and we'll catch up with you again sometime. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.